Today's project is how to make a desk. It took about 2 days and was under $30. For this project, you will need 3 planks of wood. This will end up being the legs. You need 4 planks to measure out to be 30 inches. And you also need 4 more to equal 28, and some odd points it's 4 ticks away from 29. Now to cut these, I will be using 2 horses and some clamps to hold them down. And this is the saw that I use to cut everything. You can use a power saw, but this is just what I used. To make sure I got a straight edge, I used another piece of wood just to mark along what I was cutting to make a straight line. This is what I was left with, 4 of each measurement. Now I'm just going to take each board and give them a good sanding. Make sure you run up the board with your hand, make sure you get no more splinters, and just make sure it's nice and smooth so you can stain it later. Now you're going to want to take one of each size so you can glue them together. This is the glue I'm using. You're just going to want to glue them together and then grab a clamp and clamp them together and let them dry for at least half an hour, and then don't put any weight on them for the desk use until 24 hours. And I use too much glue. You want to save about maybe an inch or 2 at the top because they're different sizes. You're going to want to make sure that they're even at the bottom, and then you want to leave that ½ inch at the top because that's where the top wood is going to sit. That's the little pocket for it where we're going to nail it down. Since I did put too much glue on, I'm just going to take a paper towel and wipe it off real quick. So now I'm taking some plywood, which this will hold up the pretty wood that we're going to stain. This is just for extra support. This isn't totally necessary, but this is just how I got my measurements. I put the pretty wood on top of the plywood and subtracted that from how tall I wanted the desk to be. And so now I'm just cutting it to fit the size that I want it, which is 40 inches long and 2 feet wide. Be careful when you're hand sawing because when I was doing it I split the corner a little bit from the weight of the wood that I was cutting off. So here I'm just taking some more wood glue and putting some weight on it. Just try to be careful so you don't have this problem too. I can't do anything more now, so now I have to wait for everything to dry. I'm going to let it dry all overnight and then I'm going to start assembling it tomorrow. So now it's day 2 and everything is done drying. I'm going to take out all the clamps and I'm going to start nailing them. I used 3 per leg, and I did just 1 every third of the board. measuring the support. So I laid it out like this to where I could put the plywood and the fake wood on the bottom and see where I needed to have the supports and how long they needed to be. So now I cut 4 of these small boards, which come out to be about 17 inches, and then I cut 2 long ones that were 37.2 inches. So what you're seeing here is me struggling very hard because I encountered a knot in the wood, which I totally recommend not buying if you can avoid it. These things are very hard to screw through, and I had to bring in bigger muscles and an electric drill instead of a battery operated one. We did eventually get through, but it did start to smoke and it did burn the wood a little bit, so I just recommend trying to avoid this type of wood. Also, this is a special screw to do it diagonal, so we can screw these into the base. So this piece of wood right here is the side support, and it'll come out looking like a U shape, and then actually it'll turn into more of a box shape with the finished top support. Now we added a 37-inch board to the U piece. You want to make sure you do it on the inside, not the outside. And now you want to repeat the whole steps and make another U shape with 2 like supports and a smaller board. So now you want to connect both your U pieces to the 37-inch boards so you can create the base of the desk. So now once you add the 17-inch top pieces, it should look more like a desk. Now we're just using some scrap pieces of wood to nail it for the support, the desk topping. Make sure you don't use too long of nails so it doesn't poke through the other side. Make sure you measure that out before you drill. Now we're just prefabbing some holes to screw down the desk topping to the desk. So now once everything is screwed down, I'm going to take some wood filler glue that is also stainable, and I'm going to fill it wherever I screwed. And after it's all dry, I'm just going to sand it down. Start staining. I bought the smallest jar I could find, and it worked out pretty well. I was able to do 3 coats on the top surface and 2 on all the legs, and after I stain it all, I'm going to put poly on it. That's it. That's all it takes to make a desk. It was about a 2-day project to let everything dry and all the screwing and whatnot. It was fairly easy, and yeah, I highly recommend this project for any beginners. It was pretty simple, and that's about it. Thanks for watching. Bye.